I did not understand. I mean, we were walking around last night, and you were talking about how long people have lived in the Brooks Range, and like just I mean, how long did you say it's been? Like
Something around 14,000 years, I would say, that people have lived here. They've found archaeological evidence in different areas.
And you found stuff too, like you were talking about the shells that you found.
I found a cartridge over on a mountain here that was, probably pretty early in the 20th century. Somebody shot it off up there. There's evidence here and there. You can see that even though it looks like a wilderness, and it is, that it's had a human occupation for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have used this area and lived in this area. This has been home for people right here for a very long time.
Well, there was that one guy you showed where he was at too.
Doug.
Yeah.
Right. Before me, yes. The last person that lived on this lake was just, a relatively short period of time, but there was somebody over here in the 1980s that built a little cabin and spent some time. And I'm sure there were people in different times before that came through here and just didn't leave a lot of evidence that they were here, but there were definitely people here off and on over the decades, over the centuries, and maybe even over the millennia.
Yeah, it's incredible to me. I don't understand how that is even possible. I mean, the fact that you've done it after coming out here, I don't understand how you did what you did, because we're going to be here for 36 hours total or 48 hours. I can't fathom how many different situations you found yourself in. And I mean, just walking around, all it would have taken was one ankle turn or one mistake, and you could have been pretty much like bear food,
Well, in terms of the hazards, I always thought, hey, there's certain risks out here, but look at all the risks that I don't face. I don't have to worry about some of the most dangerous things to most people, like getting in an automobile accident, for example. I'm not going to get shot. There's not going to be like a homicide. There's a lot of things I don't have to worry about out here that are risks in modern society.
Yeah.
So I never really felt that it was particularly dangerous, even though, of course, there are dangers, and particularly when you're on your own. There are things that could happen that would be really minor if you had other people to help you out, that could be life-threatening, for sure.
Can you think of any situations where you're like...
Well, what I think of immediately is that is one of the great lessons of spending some time alone, is how much we depend on each other and how social humans are, and how important it is to cooperate with other people, work together, depend on people, for people to depend on you, because one person alone is vulnerable. One person alone psychologically is not well adapted to survive. There are animals out here that psychologically, they're loners. I mean, a wolverine doesn't get lonesome. That's how they live. They get together to mate. The males don't spend any other time with the females or their offspring, and they're running around these mountains by themselves all the time. A human isn't wired that way. I mean, a lot of what we think, a lot of what we believe, a lot of the way we feel is dependent on the interactions we're having with other people around us. So, really, to me, that was the biggest disadvantage of this spot. Or of living out in the wilderness. I spent 8 years in aggregate over about 16 years' time living right here. And most of the time, I had some companionship. My immediate family was with me most of the time. A few times I was here completely by myself for months at a time. But I always thought the biggest disadvantage of this location and this lifestyle was the lack of other people. That wasn't an advantage. It was a disadvantage.
Which is crazy, because I feel like that's like the selling point to a lot of people.
Yeah.
For shows like that.
Yes. People that think that their problems or difficulties or stresses in life are caused by other people. But really, well, it might seem that way. It's everybody needs people. I mean, solitary confinement is punishment. That's used as punishment.
You did it by choice, kind of.
Yeah. Experiments with it, 4.5 months, longest I ever went without seeing another person. But those were experiments. It's not a long-term way of life. It's something that helps you to appreciate more other people. Really, I would just advise anybody who wants to spend time alone to try it and do it, but don't think that is a long-term solution to any kind of difficulties you're having with dealing with other people. No, that's not the point.